Houston. I'm the founder of CloudBase3.com. I'm the 29-year-old founder of CloudBase3.com. More about that later, however. I want to start this presentation by telling you that CloudBase3 is the first media property in a planned series of media properties looking at replicating trust at scale. CloudBase3 is meant to help businesses find, select, and implement cloud services that they increasingly live and breathe on. But in order for you to understand CloudBase3, you have to meet some people. 4 of these are not personas, these are real folks. 4 of these people would have been here tonight. Because of unfortunate scheduling problems, only one is. Tony, would you stand up? You here? You should talk to him about what I'm about to say. The top 3 are business pros. One's a founder of a company, one's a CEO, and one is a highly placed HR executive. They have all had to make mission-critical decisions in picking cloud services for their businesses. The 2 below on the right is a man from a big Atlanta-based telecommunications company that introduced a video conferencing service, and Tony is a managed service provider, an independent IT services guy. These folks all have a huge, painful, and largely unmet need. That need is best represented by this graphic. Actually, it's not, because this graphic is far too neat to represent the cloudscape as it is now. There are probably twice as many logos belong up there, and none of them fall neatly into the categories you see. There are no neat lines between them. They verge on each other. This represents the ecosystem that a business decision maker has to hack their way through to find and pick and implement a cloud service. Which one is best for me? Which one is best for my business? Same with cloud providers. Now, this is where CloudBase3 comes in. We are connecting buyers to sellers of products to implementers of products. No one is doing this in the marketplace right now. We're doing that in 3 primary ways. The first is through directory listings. A listing directory for cloud products, one for cloud companies, and another one for, go back please, John. Another one for cloud implementers. On top of that, we're going to layer in-depth evaluations, independent expert evaluations. Think CNET for cloud. And then finally, underneath all that, we have to build tech platforms. These would be things like a recommendation engine, a community, peer-to-peer community platform, a marketing services and data platform. Next slide. It all comes down to this money page. This is a listing page. I invite all of you afterwards to come and see me, and we'll do a demo for you. Next slide. You guys all know how big the cloud is. I don't need to tell you that. Next slide. But there's something that's changed in the marketplace, and you haven't heard me talk about IT. That's because the balance of purchasing power has shifted, and it's shifted to business decision makers, and that's who we're serving. Next slide. When it comes to an addressable market, I was worried first about scale, but look at this. There are 5,400 cloud companies out there, 138,000 cloud implementers, and if you look at the individual certified professionals, it goes into the hundreds of thousands. Next. We've researched the market, and we think we can charge these kinds of prices for just our listings alone, and we'll have other revenue streams. Next slide. Team, me, former editor-in-chief of CNET, former GM at Yahoo, Aaron Rao, former chief engineer at Goldman Sachs, Miles Austin, sales executive. Next slide. Competition, it's either search, it's apps marketplaces, or it's small and insignificant direct rivals.
Yeah, that's about it, Patrick. Do you have a concluding remark?
No, we're looking for about $350,000. And
you should know you got about 30 seconds for free because there's a complete idiot working the time.
Oh, so that explains it. Thank you very much.
Okay, now you're going to be subjected to questions from this esteemed panel.
Indeed.
We have a lot of panelists, so who's burning to ask a question? Yes, please. For some reason, we're acknowledged Victor.
Sorry, who would pay the a year? Is it?
Think of cloud vendors, cloud SaaS providers, platform providers, and those we're going to have directory listings that will pay, listings will be paid by MSPs and SIs.
How many of those are there global?
There are about 5,400 cloud companies in the United States.
Eric, go ahead.
Tell us a little bit about your customer acquisition strategy, and in particular, how do you take the CNET, for cloud analogy to the enterprise buyer, where off the shelf isn't always.
We're not thinking about the enterprise. We're thinking about business decision maker, not CIO, CMO. Cloud scales down, so that's number one.
So how are you going to acquire?
Yeah, the same way that all brands are now trying to acquire customers, and it's something that we've been practiced at for years, and that's through content. We'll market to them using original curated content. That's what I spent a career in, is building, creating content and promoting it to gather audiences. So that's number one. We'll look at also strategic partnerships. As you might imagine, I'm pretty well plugged in, even for being 29. So there are a lot of people that I can contact.
Did you start at CNET at 15?
I did, yes, I know, surprisingly.
Can you describe the amount of work that has gone into this so far?
Yes, we bootstrapped. I've been at it for about a year. Bootstrapped, starting minimum viable product, of course.
And have there been investments into the company?
We did a small family and friends seed round. I put in some of my own money. We probably have 200K invested already. No, we haven't invested 200K. We've invested probably about 50K, and we've got another 125,000 to burn through.
And just quickly, how did you come across the idea? Was there a pain point? Was there a situation that pulled you that you got?
Yeah, I was doing a project last year for HP. They were talking about the cloud and how big it is. Then I started looking at cloud services myself. Started about, as I've been building a business and eating my own dog food, if you will. It's a horrible experience to try to find out what kinds of platforms you should resort to. You can't do it with search. You cannot do it with search. You cannot do it alone based on crowdsourcing.
We're going to give the answers as short as we can. Denali, Shani, you're next.
Yes.